Hello, everybody. I know we are again meeting after a long time. Um, as you know that probably your exams they will be happening, okay, and you have to study. There is no other way. So I think you people should continue with your studies and with your preparation of the exams. Okay, even in quarantine, this is the best and the most important thing to do now for you for sixth semester. Okay, now coming back to my part and what we are actually we were doing. So look, the topic that I have been assigned, as I have seen in the syllabus, it is post-structuralism. Okay, and of course a few part of feminism. So we will go in feminism. It will not take much time, but for us it is very important to be very clear with structuralism and post-structuralism. Now let me tell you that I had already taken 2 or 3 classes of for post-structuralism, but still we are not yet able to enter post-structuralism. We are still in structuralism. So I have decided that we have to speed up the process, okay? Because questions that you will receive will not be from structuralism, it will be from post-structuralism. But to understand post-structuralism, to understand Marxism and the other theories like feminism and post-colonialism, it is very important for you to be very clear with the basics. And so I have been working so far to clear your basic ideas. Okay. Now let me tell you that we have talked about T.S. Eliot's Tradition and Individual Talent, and after that I also had a lecture on new criticism. Okay. So after this too, the other thing which is important for you to understand is the essay The Death of the Author by Roland Barthes, okay, which was published in the year 1967 or 1968. So this is something which you need to take a note of. The Death of the Author, okay, by Roland Barthes. Okay, the spelling of Roland Barthes is Roland and Barthes. Roland Barthes. Now, what is he talking about? Of course, we had seen in the earlier 2 essays, like Tradition, Individual Talent, and The Intentional Fallacy of Wimsatt and Beardsley, that how there had been a movement from the author to the text. The Death of the Author, this essay which was published in 1967-68, it made us realize that how the shift has not only from the author to the text, but it has made a further leap, that is from text to the reader. What is Barthes saying? Barthes is saying that, and this is something which I already discussed, and the basic and all the basis here lies in language. Barthes is saying that whenever a piece of writing comes to the hands of the readers, okay, then we read the text, we read the work, and we give an interpretation without considering the author's interpretation of the work. And so, this work, which is the product of the mind of the author, when it goes to the different hands, that means it goes to the different readers, the different readers, they come up with the different interpretations of the work. Okay, and these are what we call as the text. So there can be one work, but there can be many texts based on the multiple readers and their multiple interpretations which may differ. So what is happening in the process is the authority of the author, that means the authorial meaning, it is somewhere lost. And nowadays what is happening is whenever we are reading something, we are not reading it from the perspective of the author. Rather, when we are reading it, we are trying to find a new meaning out of it, our meaning out of it. So each and every reader, what is it trying? He or she is entrusting upon the work his or her own meaning. Okay, so that is why there is this very important line from Rola Barthes' essay, that is The Death of the Author, where he says that the death of the author gives rise to the birth of the reader. And the line actually is that the birth of the reader is at the cost of the death of the author. The author needs to be dead. Now you have to understand that we are not talking about the physical death of the author. Rather, what we are saying, that as soon as the author writes something, okay, the author is dead. Because when he had written something, and when it goes to the hands of the reader, on the basis of his own meanings, his own study, he will come up with a new interpretation of the text that may or may not, okay, contradict the authorial meaning. That is why we are saying that the author is dead. The author's meaning is dead. The power that the author figure had over the text, it is no more there. Okay. Now, I would actually request you people to please go through these things on your own, because we probably not have so much of time to talk in detail about these things. But one thing, if I sum up till now what we have done in literary theory, that is, I talked about modernism. I talked about postmodernism, okay, how the birth of modernism happened and how postmodernism came upon. That was a kind of cultural background which was required to study literary theories like structuralism and post-structuralism. After that, what I did, I gave you a short introduction on Ferdinand de Saussure, who is the father of structuralism. And then I referred to 3 important essays which you people need to keep in mind. That is, first one is Tradition and Individual Talent by T.S. Eliot, because as I told you, Eliot was a very important figure when we were making a journey from literary criticism to literary theory. Okay, so first Eliot, then New Criticism, Wimser and Beardsley, Intentional Fallacy. Okay, this is the next second phase, and then Death of the Author. So these are the 3 essays which you cannot miss while studying literary theory. Okay. Now today, another very important task that I plan to do is to talk about structuralism. Okay, and how structuralism makes a way towards post-structuralism, because we cannot be much late. There are too many things in post-structuralism we need to cover. And it is post-structuralism from where you will be receiving questions in your exams. So, talking about Ferdinand de Saussure, as I told you that Saussure has a book. The name of the book I already told you, that is The Course in General Linguistics. Okay. Now this book was probably published in 1916. And it is said, this book actually it was not written by Saussure. Okay, the book is a collection of the class notes or the class lectures that Ferdinand de Saussure gave to his students. So after he died, much later, his students compiled all those lectures which he gave, okay, to them, and then the book was published as The Course in General Linguistics. So what exactly the book is talking about, or what is the scientific approach? Okay, because throughout our discussion, one thing has become very clear, that how it has been possible that the shift from the author to the reader was possible. Okay, that we had made a shift, that is from the author to the reader. I don't know if it is visible or not, but today, we need a copy and a pen. So please, all of you sit with a copy and a pen. I'll try very hard. We don't have any other way. So this shift from the author to the reader, how is this possible? This is possible because our attitude towards one thing has changed, that is language. This is something which I discussed earlier, that we understood that language is not just an ordinary medium, okay, which is going to help you to reach out the meaning. Language is not such a naive tool. Language has its own authority, language has its own agency, and language is such an important factor that it has the capacity to change meanings. That is why when we different readers are coming up with the different meanings of the same text, of the same work. Okay, how is it possible? This is because of language. So language is supreme here. Now, what is Saussure saying in this book, The Course in General Linguistics? Try to understand. Saussure is saying one thing, that firstly, that language is arbitrary. Okay, you have to understand that language is completely arbitrary. What does this mean? This means, and try to understand this very carefully. For example, this is a pen, okay, with a cap, with a body. Now, the spelling of pen is P-E-N. Who told me that it is a pen? When I was born and when I grew up, we went to school. Everybody I saw, they call this thing as pen, and they call this thing as a copy. Okay, they don't call this as a copy and this as a pen. Try to understand how language works very scientifically. They call this pen, they means my teachers, my friends, my parents, everybody is calling this as a pen and this as a diary. Okay, but the question is, what made them call this as a pen? What are the features of this pen that actually made us call this a pen? Why can I call it as a cat? This question may seem to be very strange to you people, but try to question it. Have you ever questioned this? আমি কেন এই কলমটাকে কলম বলছি? Why am I calling this pen as a pen? Why am I calling a table as a table and not a rat? Why am I calling a rat as a rat and not as a lion? Now, we all have a same answer. This is because we have been taught to do so. So one thing is very clear, that every object in this world, not only object, emotion, everything has a specific sign. Everything has a specific sign. The word is very important here, sign. Everything is denoted by a specific sign in this world. And all these signs, they are arbitrary, which means there is no particular reason due to which this is called a pen. Okay? If I say a pen to a person, if someone from a French country, from a different origin comes here, and I say this, that this is not a pen, we call it as a cat. Okay? Do you think that person will ever be able to find out that the actual name of this is pen? Okay? He won't be able to understand. So this knowledge is completely arbitrary. That means that from the very beginning, the human civilization has named things as per their convenience, so that we can call them, so that we can denote them. So these are actually called sign. This is actually called sign. And there is no direct relationship between the name of an object and the object itself. Okay? There is nothing, and there is no essential property of this pen that make us call this as a pen. Okay? A pen. Sorry. Okay, so that's a particular idea. Now you have to understand a few more thing here, which is very important. Okay, but that in the next video.